It sounds like a bad like porno. Is there such thing as bad porn?
I was just gonna say, what makes a porn bad?
That was the latest review from the Visible Man podcast on iTunes. That was Adro there.
Very visible. Very visible.
I was gonna do another one of Jeff saying it's hard because he did it again where no one was talking last week, and it was just him saying it's hard. And I decided what I'm gonna do because you've done it so many times.
Maybe
I'm
we
going
should
to
just rename it. The show that.
the show to It's Hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
That's fine.
In that tone, it's hard.
It's hard. I'm gonna make a compilation of Jeff doing that, and now that we have it on video, I might wait a while, so that way we can get like all the different video versions of you doing it,
Okay.
and find out that you wear the same shirt every week anyway. So it'll be like the Zoolander calendar.
I don't have a whole lot of variety.
The
going on.
Visible Man Weekly It's Hard podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to VM Live. I am your host, Jack Rollins, and with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Hoffman. What's going on, brother?
It's Friday. That's what's going on.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And we know that it's not plants because
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
you burn it to the ground. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Scorched earth. Yep. I
And
had to.
Oh,
we
no.
also have admin Bob here. What's going on, Bob?
It's a shitty Friday, but
Oh, okay. Are we going to be able to talk about that later, or is this something persona non grata for discussion on VM Live?
yeah, no, not being discussed.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I get that. And we have Adro here as well. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man. I'm having a pretty eventful Friday too. Like I would say,
Okay.
some parts shitty, some parts new. So I'm open to talking with it because I'm sure it's not as serious as like other people's. But yeah,
Right. Last week, I kind of started the episode talking about how I was going to kind of vent about some of the stuff that had gone on that week. And
yeah.
I didn't. I like self-edited in my head while I was, running through the stuff we were going to talk about and stuff. And I didn't. And the reason I didn't, I think it's kind of funny in an existential way, because the original thing that happened, and I'm not going to get into like super detail about what happened, but the results of what happened, I kind of felt unsafe emotionally. I felt unsafe, not able to really open up and talk about what I wanted to talk about because I kind of got punished for it. And then that carried over here, so that kind of shows that kind of stuff I felt not, and nobody here made me feel unsafe, but I still didn't feel safe to discuss what happened. And to kind of get into a little more detail about it, I don't have, I'm divorced and I don't have like a lot of triggers and I have baggage. We all have baggage, but there's like one thing that's will trigger me like a bull, and a matador. Like there's like one thing, and that one thing started to happen last week. And I reached out to my girlfriend about it. And I just opened up, and it's really, really hard for me to open up, to sit there and say, like, this hurts a lot. You may not be aware of it, but like this hurt. And I think partially because of the rarity of me doing that, but partially because I don't think we're quite there as a society as much as we want to say we want guys to open up and be able to open up. I kind of got, I'm trying to think of the word, pushback from it and defensiveness, instead of just hearing me. I felt like I was, I don't.
From who, Jack? From
my
server?
girlfriend. No. And I don't think it was intentional on her part, because afterwards it was like, hey, by the way, this is how this felt. And she was like, oh, I didn't realize that. But I did open up about something that was really bothering me, because I don't open up. So when I get to that point, that you should know anyway that this is serious. And, I talked to a couple of people about it, and I found it interesting that the guys that I spoke to about it were all for me opening up. They were like, that's really good of you. Like, this is, it's tough. What you said was tough, but that's really good that you felt, that it's really good that you were able to do that. And then the women that I spoke to outside of the server, and I want to make this like I purposely spoke to women who were not part of the server because they have that kind of mentality. They know what we're working on. But like, I talked to my mom about it, and she was like, well, don't make a big deal about it, or else, it's going to cause a fight or something like that. And I thought that was so interesting outside of the immediate emotion I felt, which was like, oh, great. So you're not hearing me either. Like, all I want is somebody to hear me and acknowledge that something isn't right. And all I'm getting is either pushback or just shut up. Like, just take it, and
it's so hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
Just to choose to open up. It's just so hard.
Right. And, I'm not, and I think it kind of stinks for a lot of guys because a lot of us don't feel able to open up properly. So when we do, we do it wrong, I know that there's, possibly a gentler way I could have handled it. I could have waited and kind of talked about it afterwards, let things play out, whatever. But we don't have that experience. I don't have that, I never was taught that. I was never taught how to emotionally do those kind of things. So when it does happen, it's kind of a burst of there's
no practice at it.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's, I had a bone to pick with myself for the show because I was like, yeah, let's vent, let's talk about stuff. And then everybody else did. And I'm like, I hope they didn't notice that I didn't say anything.
Well, at the end of the show, I was like, he's been kind of quiet about the show when he was going to vent about stuff. But
yeah.
I didn't want to poke too much. I figured you would open up on your own terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, it's difficult for me personally. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm of that mindset naturally where I just don't want to tell people stuff. I don't want to burden anyone with anything that. And so, there's kind of the jokey Irish thing where it's like I get rid of my troubles by, burying them in some Jameson and tell them or do. But this episode brought to you by yeah.
At feelings, we'll get rid
It's
of
not
it.
a solution, but scientifically it is. But anyway, so yeah, that's where I was last week. I was in a pretty weird, rough, unsure kind of place. And things are better this week, but yeah, it's interesting that the men said, that's good, dude. Good for you, and then women were like, just keep the peace, man. It's not your job to be emotional.
They were actually discouraging you from opening up?
Afterwards. They were like, well, don't keep, because it didn't get resolved initially. So they were like, don't keep bringing it up. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem fair because anytime something would come up with a female in my life, I'm sidestepping baggage and triggers and, that triggers you. I know that. I probably shouldn't bring it up. I mean, if it's reasonable, but everybody has a couple of those kind of unreasonable things, and as a partner or as a friend or whatever, you either sidestep it, move around it, handle it gently, you acknowledge that. And this was my one unreasonable thing. And I felt like I was made to, it stopped being about me and my problem and my issue. And I wasn't allowed to feel, I'm not going to say I wasn't allowed, but I was made to feel that I wasn't allowed to feel how I felt. I was getting talked to about my emotions, and that,
there was a little bit of suck it up going on.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of it. Quite a bit of well, this is why. And it's I don't need to know why. What I'm saying right now is this hurts.
Yeah.
You can continue to do it because you're an adult, but now this hurts when you do it. So that's your decision, But anyway, so yeah, I think we have a long way to go societally anyway I think we talked about it a little bit on the server. We're telling men to open up. we're telling men that they are emotionally safe, or that they should be emotionally safe, but we're not quite there yet. I think the younger generation's a lot better than ours with that. But my generation, and I'm the youngest one here. My generation still, we still have those remnants of suck it up, dude. It's not your job to emote. Let her be crazy. And I'm not saying my girlfriend's crazy, but I'm saying in the general thing, let her be crazy. You just keep your shit together.
Flow.
Yeah.
You don't get afforded the same as her. I get that. It's you're right. And for the record, you are the youngest by like a year, by some change. All right. So your generation is my generation too, bro. But
okay, fair enough.
I totally feel you though. Like I feel like our generation is. I think I said it in service about something else, like opening the door, and so hopefully the ones coming up, like just keep having that kind of conversation, having those open lines of communication for men.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I can't think of what the comparison would be, but I think sometimes, especially for men's mental health, it's one of those things where it's like you say, hey, let's break the stigma, and everybody says, yeah, let's do it. But then, like especially the older generation, they don't. Like, it's like they say, yes, I support it, but then they don't do it.
It's like
or struggle to do it. Yeah.
The idea of it is one thing, but in practice, practice,
exactly.
like you were saying before, Jack, like you don't have practice at it. It's really subtle. Like if you have a hard time opening up, and somebody can say the slightest thing, or even the look on somebody else's face, if you're having a hard time opening up, it doesn't take much to shut somebody down. So even if in principle you support it, you're like, you don't have the practice at it.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm, completely, especially with guys, practiced at it. Like I have to work to watch what I say and try not to sound like I'm blowing them off. Like I might go in the other direction, like too far in the other direction of trying to be supportive.
Of being too supportive?
Yeah. Of like being too, okay, buddy, like huggy, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of, it's going to be, like that kind of, like almost, I feel like sometimes I get into like almost babying the person, you know what I mean? With like, it's go
That's
ahead,
right. Everybody's different.
So, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it's an old dog, new trick situation, especially with the older generation. I mean, it's like you can't tell your grandpa who's 90 years old. You can tell him to stop being racist, but he's not going to stop. You know what I mean? Like he's been racist for 90 years. That's not going to change, and you can tell him not to say certain things. And my grandpa was a bit racist, and you can tell him not to say stuff around the family and, and he listened and stuff like that, but you're not going to change. You're not going to change his mind. 90, like why? And he's sitting there like, I got this far this way. Why am I, so yeah, I think there's an element of that too, that they're just not, just like I'm not practiced in opening up. They're not practiced in, and listening.
I need to call a timeout.
Okay.
Because Jeff either moved his camera or moved his couch, but it's in alignment right behind him.
Yes. Check. It's symmetric. It was by design.
Yeah, we changed it. Yeah, we had him change it last week.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the mascot at least was there. I did get a picture before the show of the cat, so that'll be the episode main picture, just the cat chilling on the seat.
Yeah, I see the cat back there.
So, Adro, what's up, man?
Man, it's been a rough week. In some regards, like, so my youngest daughter has gone back to preschool and has adjusted very, very well, and I'm so happy for her and also for myself because now it's like I get extended periods of time without the kids where it's like, I'm not even talking about like to party or have fun with friends. It's literally just so I can work in peace, right?
And you work from home still, right?
I'm working from home still. But my goal is like after the holidays, like to start going back to the office those days when they're both in school. And And I've never looked more forward to going to work just to talk with adults, you know, like in person. Like,
so
my
great.
God.
Do you have like a uniform or something? Because like in my head, I'm imagining you like looking forward to putting on khakis and like going.
And a polo.
Yeah.
No, so it's if I'm going back to my regular office, I have to wear like business casual. So I'm not looking forward to that because, you know, it's like working in like hoop shorts and sweats has been awesome. Like a nice shirt on top, but I got like some, you know, like Golden State Warriors sweats underneath. But you know, one of the things the first things that I've done is like, because I am like I feel like the least healthy, physically, emotionally, and just like mentally that I've been in a long time. You know, especially since this incident happened, because I haven't had incident with my youngest, because I haven't had time to really deal with like the trauma of that, or the trauma of like my like, you know, divorce and the breakdown of my marriage and breaking up the family and stuff. So the first things that I've been doing in these free times is I've been focusing on like my health. So it's like I made an appointment to see my primary doctor. I made a dentist appointment. You know, I'm trying to find like a therapist. So those are the things that I've been doing. Now, the last time I saw my primary doctor was the incident with Penelope, my youngest, happened around my birthday in mid-March. And so the last time I saw my primary was a couple weeks before that. It was like the February 20 something. So when I go to see her this past Tuesday, she was like, hey, you know, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, what's been going on? It was like, oh man, how much time you got? Because she knew about like the divorce and everything, but not like anything that's happened with Penelope. So I explained to her everything. You know, we talked. She made me fill out this form, and you know, for the first time, like I was diagnosed with depression. And you know, we talked about treatments and stuff. And, you know, of course, therapy is definitely something I do want to do. It's just going to take a little bit of time to find someone. But she, you know, she prescribed me Zoloft. And, you know, that was on Tuesday. And I don't know, like, I don't know. She prescribed it to me and it really, I don't know, like freaked me out.
Have you taken anything like that before?
No. So I will be honest with you that, like, you know, when I was doing drugs, like when I did drugs with like the white boys in college, like we would chop up like Zoloft and Xanax and snort them.
Really?
So that's
a
my
little
only
bit different.
Yeah, it's my only experience taking Zoloft. So it definitely doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it's prescribed.
You should have messed with her like that. You'd be like, so do you recommend I chop this up and snort it, or you can chop up and snort anything, Jeff? Like, come on, man.
Sure, but does it do anything?
Oregano, whatever.
It must do something.
Right. When I was in rehab, like what we would do in rehab was like I would trade my snacks for people's like Tylenol, like PMs, and crush them up to snort them. And so and the Zoloft pills are blue, so I saw that and I got kind of triggered. But yeah, so I mean, I started taking. So today is the first day I started taking the Zoloft.
Wow, that's big, dude.
Yeah. So I took it this morning. So
that's big.
Did you notice anything just in this one day then, or? No.
I'm the first week I'm doing like half dosage, you know, so like instead of one pill, half a pill a day. So I took the first half this morning.
All right, man. All right. Well, we can continue to talk about that here right after the break. When you said Zoloft, it made me think of it. Do you remember wasn't it Zoloft, the old commercials, or it was like the little cloud, like the animated cloud? I think that was Zoloft.
Wow.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it was Zoloft, but yeah.
No, it's in Balta.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It was like a depressed cloud or something. And
none of these are our sponsors.
And he was.
He probably remembers a lot of puffy clouds from snorting the Zoloft.
I know. I never snorted Zoloft.
Not you.
Yeah. I see you're drinking, Bob. What do you got?
Just a beer, nothing special.
Okay. I have Great Lakes Christmas Ale, Adro, Christmas Spirit.
Cheers, bro.
What about you?
What is that, Jeff?
This is Glen Morangi.
Glen Morangi. You gotta do a j at the end. Yeah. The 10-year.
That's what I got. 10-year. Yep.
That is my go-to scotch.
I have just some Mexican angry water. So
Nice.
it's
Chico. Mexican angry water.
That doesn't sound good. No.
Mexican angry.
There's a lot of things I get from Mexico. Water's not one of them.
Mexican angry water sounds like.
It's Topo Chico, which literally translates to like small, like gopher. So, which I don't know is like gophers in Mexico. So, a lot of coyotes.
That's what I think of when I think of water. Just real quick, before I forget, this will be the last official episode of VM Live for the year. We're going to go on a little bit of a break. We're going to come back January 5th, I believe. We might do a couple of things on some of the other days in the server, but we probably will not be releasing them as a podcast. So if you're listening and you're part of the server and you want to take part in that, you're more than welcome to. And we're going to have, we have a little bit of a backlog of talks that Jeff did. And so we are going to be releasing some of those as well. So the podcast won't be taking a break, but we will be.
Much deserved.
Yeah. We're like, I think this is going to be episode 36 of full on.
Wow,
I don't know how
really?
many. Yeah, we haven't done that many VM Lives. We're probably half that of VM Lives. Maybe a little bit more.
Still, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Almost 20.
I mean, if you think about it, from the first episode that we did, well, that's not counting the 2 that never aired.
Unreleased special
Yeah.
editions.
We
The forgotten episodes.
Yeah.
right, the lost
Director's
episodes.
cut.
We we've come a long way in that time. You know, from starting out with the audio only, and then, you know, growing the cast, kind of coming together and formulating kind of our format and how we do everything, to then moving over to video now. Hopefully next year we're going to be live streaming outside of Discord with video. We're trying to kind of baby step some of that stuff, because a couple of, probably episode 3 or 4, Jeff and I screwed around and we actually did live stream it on Twitch. And it was just me and you on camera, and then like the chat or something like that.
We're learning.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
But we did that because we don't want to sit there and throw everybody into this. As you kind of figured out, when you start adding video, things get a lot more complicated. But we're hoping to introduce that here sometime next year. So, Adro, before we kind of switch over and see what everybody else is doing and stuff, I'd like to know, how do you feel about that diagnosis? I mean, does it feel, I'm sure there's some fear in there, there's some of that, but does it feel like I had been diagnosed with it, and I felt like heard. I felt, relieved that, okay, we know what this is. So there's somebody's saying, yes, this isn't right. Like, you're not just being, exactly. You're not just being, over the top. Yeah. Like, there's a thing.
Yeah. You sucked it up a little too much, and now you're feeling it.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, maybe we should.
So not only are you depressed, but you're an idiot.
Dumbass. Yeah. I never thought of it like that, Jack. Oh, I never thought of it. So no, I didn't. I definitely didn't feel like that. Just getting diagnosed. I mean, I knew. Like, I knew, right? Like, everyone knew, like, so. But I will never self-diagnose myself with anything, So, but just to hear it kind of just made it like official, where it's like, now, like someone who's a lot smarter than me, like, is telling me this, like, it's time to do something really about it now. Okay. So yeah, so I'm starting. So
good,
I don't know. I am scared though. Hearing that word does scare me, and like with drugs and everything. So, but
how do you feel about taking something? Because I know for me that I've been on stuff. I'm on stuff now, but when I first started going on stuff, it was, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, like, I'm tripping off like this, all the like the side effects, right? Like that could be possible, right?
Mhm.
Everything, you know, and stuff that's like might not even be true, you know, everything from like the nausea to like not being able to like pop a boner, you know, like, and everything
Oh,
else in between.
Yeah.
So there's that. You know, I do have like a very, very addictive personality. I know
Mhm.
that. So I'm kind of scared about that, you know.
Mhm.
Cutting the pills in half to take half tablets and seeing like the chunks break off was very triggering this morning when I did that,
Mm.
because it's blue, just like the pills that we used to snort. So it's you know, I have to work through those. And then just thinking about, just, am I going to have to take this like for the rest of my life or for a long period of time? Like, then what's going to happen when I get off of it? Because the cold, going cold turkey for me off of like meth, like, you know, they call it like dope sick. Like that was terrible. Like, it was like the worst pain that I think I've ever like felt. So I mean, I'm obviously like, it's not going to be like that with like this, you know, but just I don't know, just a lot of things going on. But I do feel that like it's time to do something. And like I trust my doctor with literally every other thing in my life, right? From everything. So I will listen to her and we'll see how it goes.
Are you okay if I give my experience with it? Like, how do you feel about me sharing what I've been? Because I've taken Zoloft before.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. When I first started taking it, this is many years ago. It took a few weeks for me to start feel something, which I think is common. I think it's an SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, I think.
Whoa, that's impressive, bro. Spell it now.
I know. I had side effects in the beginning, like it upset my stomach. But then after a few weeks, it was almost like it gives you, the way it was described to me was it gave me space to feel things. So like if somebody, I don't know, for a bad example, I smashed my foot on like smashed my toe, and you react to it. Not that this happened, but rather than reacting to it, you have like 30 seconds to think about it and feel it kind of evolve a little bit before you react to it. So for me, it was, it kind of stretched out and kind of relaxed my response and reaction to feelings. It gave me space to feel things a little bit more, a little bit more comfortably. So I don't know, my experience has been positive with it. But when I first went on it, I had the same thoughts. I'm like, God, am I going to have to be on this for the rest of my life? What happens when I go off of it? You know, how does that work? And I don't know. My experience has been generally positive with it.
Thanks for sharing. That's encouraging.
I think the you know, I don't have as much experience with that stuff, so I again share a lot with that. But I do want to say, dude, like, you know, we've known you for a little over a year now.
That's it?
It's been like 2, man.
No, like I have to lok back, but like we were really jumping into VM, I think a year ago, a little bit over a year. I'll look, but
man,
it's been
but
like 2.
Okay,
I got my first Facebook memory of VM.
Oh,
post
really?
of
Okay,
a year
well,
ago.
been,
So I was like, I have to have been in deep a little bit for me to start sharing, y'all.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But to see, you know, knowing what you've gone through and knowing the who joined us, that guy that first joined us, you know, and to see where you've grown and to see all the different things you've had to do here in the time that we've known you, especially in this last, what would you say, February was when that all happened? March?
Almost a year,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, is when it all, you know, when that stuff happened.
Yeah.
That was a year ago that happened?
About 10 months ago now. Yeah.
Wow.
It was March. You know, like there's pride, and the fact that you're taking these steps forward, dude. And
well, thank you guys.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I can comfortably say that for everyone, you know, who knows you. Like, we're really proud of you for doing this, because it's not easy. A lot of people don't, you know, and yeah. So
thank you.
digital clap.
so much. I don't know. Yeah, when I think about all the stuff you're going through, it's evolving. I don't know. I know things haven't necessarily settled out, but you're going through a ton of stuff, and you're still supportive and loving and present. It's just, you're doing awesome.
Thanks, man. Virtual pound, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Bam.
Get it up there, Bob. All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, can I say something really quick?
Yes, please do.
Adro, did I tell you that I was talking to my daughter about you?
You mentioned it in the server the other day about something.
Okay.
One of
yeah.
Nako's questions.
Yeah. I was sitting down with her. You've probably seen the picture of my kitchen. I don't have a kitchen table. I have 2 leather chairs that are just, we just like, it's like these little therapy chairs, but that's where we sit and talk like every day for maybe half an hour. And I was telling her about just your life generally. And you said something about like, I just don't know if I'm doing things right. I want to do right for my girls. And I said to her, I said to her, what you're going through, Adro, is almost like if she were to talk to me 5 years ago. Like, what would you tell the version of me 5 years ago? That's what it would be like talking to Adro. And she started to tear up. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad! If I could
make me tear up, bro."
She's like, because for her, she and I are very close, and for her to be able to talk to me 5 years ago and tell me the things that I did then, that you're doing now, that you don't see how they're going to evolve 5 years from now. I mean, picture your girls 5 years older, and the things that you're
13 and 9.
Dude, it's probably hard to imagine, but the things that you're doing today, the stability that you're creating for them, it's like the oxygen that they don't even realize that they need. That it's so impactful to their lives and so important. And so when I told her about your situation, and she knows generally about you, and I think you've even met her on video once. She was like, it just struck her. She's like, oh my God, like if I could talk to me 5 years ago and just relay to you that the things that you're doing are so important. So just keep it up, man. You're doing the right things.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. You and Bob are definitely like dad goals. Like when I see you guys, man.
Get out of here. Thank you.
I did know Jeff 5 years ago, and I'm gonna tell you right now, he was an ass. He was a terrible person.
Complete asshole.
Not much has changed then, huh?
No.
Yeah, no.
Just kidding.
I will add something. I wasn't planning on doing this, but looking at what you just said, Jeff, I want to say, I'll go ahead and say this. And Adro, I think or you'll remember, I don't know, a couple months ago or something, I tried to call you or something, and you're like, I'm busy, what's up? And I said, nothing, I'll try you later. And I had been catching up on listening. I'd been catching up on listening to some of the podcasts because I hadn't listened to a lot of them. And I just listened to yours with your story. And that had impacted me so much. And it gave me new insight into you as a person, new respect for you, what you've been through. I mean, we all go through something in our own way. If I know people that have gone through addiction, I'm not aware of it. Like they haven't come out and said what they've gone through. So to listen to that podcast, listen to your story. I mean, I was like tearing up during that story. And that's why I wanted to reach out to you, because I don't like doing stuff like this. I don't want to do this on, VM Live or something. I want to call him and be like, hey dude, that was really inspirational. I love you. You're awesome. You're doing a great job,
bro.
But we never touched base. So look at what Jeff said. I'll say it now. That podcast touched me. I hope it inspired so many other people that listen to it, people that will listen to it. I think we've got to get that one out there more. Because that experience that you went through and where you're at now, dude, fucking phenomenal.
Dude,
that's awesome. And
thank you, man. And
I'm proud to know you and call you a friend in a way. you know,
No, more than a win, man.
Hopefully one day we'll meet, you know.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Oh,
Not
Not at a Raiders game though, but hopefully we'll meet somewhere.
Raiders at Buffalo. Let's go.
Yeah, we could do that.
That is a game that no one would care about. For those of you who are listening live, I just posted the link to that episode, and it will be in the
picture
show notes.
Yeah.
Hey, you sent it to me, man. That was actually though, because I remember Facebook stalked the heck out of you to try to find, and I'm like, wow, there's this picture of you like all busted up, and I'm so surprised that you gave me permission to use that. And it's also kind of a weird time capsule because it shows you how bad cameras were that long back. Because it's like,
how long ago was that?
That was 2009 or 10. So that was on that picture was taken on my T-Mobile Sidekick.
Yeah.
like the second version. Of
Yeah. The upgraded one.
Yeah.
So you took the picture and then you snapped it over to the side and texted it to your friends like
yeah, on my 2G network.
Yeah. Wasn't even a G, it was just bars at that
2H.
point. Yeah. Especially T-Mobile. We are going to we're going to jump to break here real quick, and then we'll be right back.
Wait.
Edmund Bob had to leave. Sorry about that, guys. It's just a black space down here now. You know, I it was kind of a nice transition, Bob. You probably didn't mean to do it about, you know, listening to past episodes. I obviously listen to every episode because I edit it and put it up. So I multiple times for now the audio and the video. And I was curious as we kind of wrap up this year in the last basically 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of the show. The last show of 2021. If you guys had anything that stuck out to you of powerful, funny, super depressing, you know, what were some of your favorite moments of VM Live so far? I can kind of start, and for me, there were those big, impactful moments like Adro's episode. I mean, like that was one of those where, you know, there's the human in me that's like, that was beautiful, and, you know, so happy to exist in a place where we can do this, you know, and proud of Adro for opening up like that. Like that stuff's not easy. There were a lot of, you know, you admitted a lot of faults there, you know, and it's hard to do that.
Say the least.
Yeah, it's hard to sit there and say what you said. So it was just so matter of fact. It was heroic. And then the producer side of me, the like media guy, is like, oh fuck yeah, dude! Like drugs and shit's gonna be all over, and people are gonna hear that, and they're gonna. And it's one of the more downloaded episodes of the podcast.
Oh my God.
So yeah, your face is plastered over a lot of people. Yeah. You're all over Spotify. Your busted up face.
Oh shit.
And then I just made it worse when we updated the website, because not only is it on the website, but now it's on Pinterest. So people might be repinning your busted up face.
Giving me more blood pinning on my face.
Right. But for me, you know, what I'm really proud of as far as the show is just the general kind of air of being open. You know, we have a couple of guys, you know, 5 of us that are on regularly, and there's this, it's the smaller moments, you know, that I find special. The just us talking and having fun, but kind of opening up in little ways here and there. A little bit what I talked about, you know, in the beginning of the episode, like that's not planned. That's not the topic of the day. You know, that's nothing. Like that's just organic. One of our first episodes, we did that, and everybody was just raw. And I think we've been able to build up a community both in and outside of the podcast, that allows people that space to do that, to be authentic and to be open at their own pace, at their own, whenever they feel comfortable to do it. And I think we've developed that here. And so that's what I'm most proud of for 2021 on VM Live and everything we're doing here. So does anybody else have anything specific? Like I said, could be funny, could be just emotionally impactful.
Well, yeah, I think, as I already mentioned, the most impactful for me of the ones I either listened to and or participated in was Adro's episode. That was the most impactful that I had a very strong, emotional reaction to. Mm-hmm. The one, I guess, as far as fun, awkward, whatever you want to call it, was the Tinder episode with me, because I don't like being the focus or center of attention. So that was, when you guys talked about it, yeah, sure, whatever, let's do it. But it was funny, and it was a good stretch for me because it kind of took me outside of my comfort zone to be, have the attention on me. We're going to put you on Tinder and blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't even all about does this get me a good profile? Does this get me a date? Or as some of us were saying, does this get Bob laid? It was just, it was just about, let me do something outside my comfort zone and see how that experience goes. Mm-hmm. And, it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it on that episode. And, when we did a couple follow-ups, that was fun for me. So those are the two kind of, I guess, that stick out for me this year.
I was so proud of you for doing that because at first it started out we're gonna put him on, and then I don't think he knew what we were, we again
kind of started in Cleveland, when we were there.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I wasn't there because you guys were just drinking, and I was wherever at the Chinese bakery or running.
You were driving. You're like, I know what we'll do. We'll kind of get him primed for Tinder. I think for me, I care about you guys. And so this is a show. Sure. It's a podcast and it's a recording and we're on video and there's preparation and back work and editing that a lot goes into this. But Adro, I've never met you in person. I've met the other two guys on here in person, but this is genuinely friends talking and even Bob, the thing that you shared before, Adro, your openness, Jack, your experience about your last week. This is like if we had a scheduled get together as dudes, as friends talking. And there's I genuinely care about you guys, and there's an openness that this captures. I think there's a bit of a production element to it for sure, but it's mostly us talking, and I'm very proud of that because that's what VM is about. Is just this is hard for me to say, but blah, being vulnerable and just being open and making a space for other guys to share. So I don't know if it's really a moment, but just kind of it's kind of sprinkled with a bunch of those little things. Even Bob, at the beginning of this, you said that your Friday has been interesting and we haven't poked, and that's totally fine. And that's how it works. We're here, and if we're out shooting pool, we're out doing whatever. If and when you felt open, comfortable sharing, then you would. If not, if it never happens, that's fine too. But we're here for you either way. So that's what that. Yeah, these get together, these chats, these VM lives are very genuine. You guys are my friends, and I care about you, and even the guys that aren't online right now, that aren't able to make it. This is cool. I'm really happy. It's kind of that we're connecting this way.
Me too.
Yeah, I like, for me this year, just being able to starting VM Live. I feel like it's really, at least with all of us here, and also with Evan and other people that have come on, it's given, especially now more so recently with the video. I feel like it's the connection there is a lot deeper now that we can actually, it went from just typing to voice to now video. So it's definitely brought the connection, made me feel a lot closer to, you know, specifically to you guys, but to a lot of other people on the server too.
Yeah.
You know, one of the moments that sticks out for me is like that episode of VM Live where like Steph took over, you know,
Yeah.
and I was in the audience.
Yeah.
Like
That
and then
poor girl.
Yeah.
I felt like the dude, or like the, you know, that person in the movie theater who keeps talking during the movie, because I kept chatting and putting gifs in there
Yeah.
and like interrupting. So that was pretty funny to me.
I
That
felt
was
so
cool.
because she was supposed to have. It was
Oh,
supposed to be a Visible Women takeover, and she was supposed to have
Yeah.
somebody else on the show with her, and they were gonna do. I think they picked a couple topics because originally they were like, let's do a review show. And I said, you're not going to be able to have any good comments on, at that point, like 24 shows. Like you're just skipping through it. Like I'd rather have you guys have like a real deep actual conversation about some of this stuff versus just skimming over. And then like the night before that person canceled.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, do you still want to do it, Steph? Like, it's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to. Yeah. Like, it's fine. And she said yes. And so we came up with the idea of having just me and Jeff on there with her. And she ran it. I told her, like,
Yeah.
this is the idea.
Very
Like,
well.
I'll push the buttons, but
Wasn't that the one where she made that mad, like,
yeah. Well, that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
like the length of her kitchen or
Yeah.
something?
So we scraped the idea of whatever the original idea was, and we were like, Steph, look, like you have to carry this since it's your episode. So whatever you want to talk about, just Jeff and I are game. And she did. It was, I
She
think it
went
ended
in.
up being like 6 feet long.
Yeah, it had to be 6 feet.
It looked like that, what is that, like the roller paper, I don't know what it was.
Butcher paper.
Butcher paper, yeah. And it was just like, what the heck? And
Post-it notes. It was like a
Yeah.
big process
Color
improvement.
coordinated.
yeah, for an hour, which really comes down to like 45 minutes worth of actual discussion. And I sat there and I have, I'm comfortable in my role. When I joined, I never expected to be doing these kind of things like this. But like I'm comfortable in it. I've been doing media for almost 20 years now. And I've never felt so inadequate, like for show notes, as I did when she popped that up. And I'm just like, good God, like what are we? I mean, I had you, Adro. I had you on. I knew nothing about, and I'm like, let's talk about how you did drugs, and then we wung it for an hour, and then like we get onto her episode, and I'm like, ooh, shit.
She's got a lot of homework.
And she really did surprise us a lot on that episode. With all of her research and some of the things that she discussed, it was pretty. I'm excited. I hope she's able to get or hope we're able to kind of get it to the original idea. But I was really excited, and I was really happy with how she did.
Yeah.
One of the things that it's something I think needs to be remembered, and I need to remember it, especially when it comes to you guys. Jeff had done some Facebook Lives before. I was involved. They're still up if you want to look at them. They're from a long time ago.
We call that before Jack or
yeah,
BJ?
yeah.
How long ago?
I think it was BJ. I think is what the.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to say BJ,
But
Maybe 2 years.
yeah, it was,
like that.
and I don't remember who they were, but I remember looking back and going, I wonder if he did, and seeing the Facebook Lives, So he had a little bit of experience, and you'd been on a couple of podcasts and kind of done some stuff. So these talks were the talks that you do were something that were kind of planned. But when we asked all of you guys to, Adro, Bob, Evan, and then, Steph, when she comes in, to basically be professional broadcasters in a week, that's a big ask, not only are you supposed to be, mic technique and and knowing when the breaks are and doing all those kind of things. But you also are kind of expected to be open and honest and talk about really difficult things. Mm-hmm. And you guys have all done it, and you've done it very quickly. I've worked, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've met and worked with many hosts, and a lot of them were good. A lot more of them were not. It takes a lot to be able to do this kind of stuff, to be able to be interesting and open and honest and watch a time clock and interact with the chat, and not cuss all over the place or cough into the microphone. There's a lot of things that go into it, and you guys have all picked it up really, really well. And not only am I impressed, but I'm really proud, because I've given directions behind the scenes and stuff, Shut up, Adro. I've given directions behind the scenes and stuff like that, and you guys have always been game. You may have questioned, okay, why do we do it that way? But there's never been like no, I'm not doing that. You've all been open and willing to listen and do what you can do to make the show the best it can be. And so I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you guys. And this last, 6 months that we've been doing VM Live, has been just a pure joy. Working with you guys every Friday night. It's something I look forward to every Friday night,
here, bro.
8:00, jumping on VM Live. And now we're all, texting and sending stuff to each other all the time that's not VM related, which is so cool, because it's like there's friendship involved in that. What?
That was a big laugh there. I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
about.
He knows what we've been sending back and forth to each other. So.
Jack and I,
yeah, it's not great.
I don't get any text from anybody, so I don't know.
I don't text you, but I send stuff to your Instagram and TikTok, I believe.
Yeah.
Jeff, he doesn't watch anything I send him on TikTok, so
I need to get a TikTok then.
Every couple weeks. Every couple.
And you'll react to one, or I know you don't, because you send me the videos that I sent you.
Like, check out this thing. Like, I sent it to you last week.
Yeah, look at this thing I saw for the first time today.
Yeah, just uploaded. It's like, thanks, Jeffrey.
While we're giving praise, you deserve a lot, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Because the professionalism and structure and voice and guidance that you give and coaching that you give to us as we go through this is awesome. I mean, if it was without you, it wouldn't be the same. So I think I can speak for all of us and say that you elevate the professionalism and quality of our discussions. So thank you.
Thank
Definitely.
you. That means a lot.
Definitely.
Real quick before we go, we need to announce this. Adro and I have a bet going.
What's this about?
Just kind of a play on the bet that Adro and Bob did, where we bet that the Raiders Browns, and whoever loses has to wear the other team's hat. On an episode of VM Live. We did that with, like, Adro has come up with a bunch of crazy awesome ideas, but like they were like dressing up as like the Raiders fan. And I'm like, I gotta run a show. Like, I can't have like the big, although it would be funny if the Browns won, because then he'd have to wear a mask and we wouldn't be able to see him the whole time. But he's mad because my entire team, the Cleveland Browns, did what they do and got COVID, and so they rescheduled. They rescheduled 87 games this week, man.
But the Raiders have 0 COVID cases.
Yeah, but how? Yeah, but how many?
That's
how
your
many?
fault.
How many arraignments do they have? How many court cases do they have?
And we still play. But we still play.
That's because court cases are on Monday.
Have, like, child support orders and stuff.
But we still play. That's why we have to play, because they got to pay child support. They got to earn.
Yeah, they'll have the. Yeah, they only get paid if they play.
It's just
right.
bullshit.
And if the game was, if they forfeited, they wouldn't get paid.
The Browns need a forfeit. Like, it's their fault.
No, but the Raiders
here's the thing.
Paid.
They followed. Yeah, that would not help the Raiders. They followed the protocol.
We get the win. A forfeit's automatic win.
But if you don't play,
lose their paycheck.
I don't care about that. They're millionaires. They can deal with that on their own.
But they followed protocol. So it's the league that screwed that kind of stuff, and we're not the only thing that got shuffled.
It was like Washington football team, their game.
Yeah.
Like 3 games ago.
I actually bought the hat though, so that's how much confidence I have right now. Is there's a Raiders hat on the way to my house.
I'm not saying nothing, because last time I did, I got jinxed, and then we just got our asses kicked like 48-9 last
Yes.
week. So yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that is the end of the first season of the Visible Man podcast.
No more rookie season.
Right. We're going to hopefully not have a sophomore slump next year. If you're listening to this or watching it, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. We're on all of the social media channels. Make sure you check us out at visibleman.org. And hey, if you're 18 or over, feel free to join our Discord server where we have moderated discussions about men and men's mental health daily. Good job, guys. Seriously. First season in the bag. Freaking killed it. I'm really proud of you guys. And we will see you on, I believe, January 5th. I think that's the next date. Anyway, for Visible Man, this is Jack Rollins reminding you that vulnerability is the ultimate demonstration of strength. Cheers.